Welcome to Love, Dating, and Chaos with Felicity Rican. Okay, so this week's episode is all about Audacity. It's about the audacity to say exactly what you think and feel. And Chantal Engelbrecht does exactly that. She runs the most amazing Facebook page called Color Girls Rock. It's massive. It is for the color community, men, women, kids. There's support out there, but also some crazy stories. Also, since we've recorded this, some of her experience and choices have changed because that is humanity. That's what happens. Take this conversation with the pinch of salt it deserves, but also take it from whence it comes. This is somebody's lived experience, and we are not here to judge. We listen. We don't judge. This week's episode is also about the audacity to go after what your heart wants, because the heart wants what it wants. Why are you denying it, huh? Don't deny it. And sometimes, if you're lucky, you could literally, end up changing your mind. Who knows? Shan, I'm going to have to ask you, do you think dating in the colored community is different to dating in any other community? For both men and women, because obviously you have access to both men and women on your page.
Okay, so dating in the colored community from any other community, I don't know, because I think it's just very much an adventure sport. But I think the dating pool is a little bit unclear in the colored community, and I'll explain why, right?
Okay.
Because for some reason, and this is my own opinion, please, I do have lots and lots of people that are going to come at me for this, but I do honestly feel that colored guys are just a different kind of person that you date. And the reason I'm saying that is because I think a lot of the guys have grown up without a father figure. So we tend to have these guys that are they come faulty. They literally come faulty. I mean, I don't even understand. You can't send them back to the factory, nothing, but they're faulty.
Yes.
So they don't know how to be romantic. Like a lot of them. I mean, we're talking, I'm really generalizing.
Yeah.
Here. We're not talking about the exceptions now. But the exception would really be the guys that are romantic, that open doors, those type of things. Those guys really are very scarce on the ground in the colored community. Mm-hmm. And in my experience, that would probably be the biggest reason why I don't date in the colored community, by the way.
Right, okay.
So every time I have tried, because sometimes you think, no, I'm faulty.
No, I get you. I do the exact same thing.
And then I think, how can you be colored and you just actually straight out saying that you're not going to date in the colored community? Let's try this. I have been proven right every single time in terms of why I don't date in the colored community.
So who do you date?
Indian guys.
Only Indian guys. Okay.
I only attract Indian guys.
I
literally only attract Indian guys. I cannot understand it, but
Okay.
I literally only attract Indian guys, apparently.
Let's chat about your dating life. Where are you at?
Okay, so I'm divorced for 13 years.
Okay.
And I've been in one relationship. Because we're going to have to define dating and relationships, not the same thing. Oh. So I've been in one relationship that lasted for about 4 years. And that was when I went back home to Kimberley for a while. And I dated somebody that I was at school with. So we knew each other for a long time.
Okay.
And it was just easy because he lived opposite my mother. Everything was just easy.
Yeah.
I think that's not a good thing, okay? But it was. He was also pretty cool at the time. He got a little bit insane. You see, this is why I say, colored guys, he got a little bit it wasn't so lacquer afterwards, but yeah. But then I also moved to Johannesburg, and this long distance thing is not a thing.
No, I agree with you.
I don't care who says what, right? I see the TikToks where the guys fly from the UK to come and meet the girls here. I just don't think I can do a long distance relationship. I'm not very good at it. And also I'm not very good at relationshiping.
So what is the difference for you between relationships and dating?
So dating is we hang out. The young ones call it vibing. Mm-hmm. I had to get a whole lecture on what vibing was the other day. You mustn't date these 30-year-olds. But anyway. So dating for me is we go out, we hang out, we chat. You see where it goes. It's very easy. There's no commitment as such.
Okay.
With relationships, it's 5 to being married. Now, I don't want to ever get married again. But now you have these people that just want to come and they're like, no, we are now in a relationship. You cannot see other people. You must not speak to other people. Why do people want to give me rules? And why I don't take instruction well. I hope my boss is not going to hear this, but I don't even take instructions from my boss. So he asks nicely and we work really well together because he asks nicely. Now I come here and some other auntie's child wants to give me instructions. In that alone, you've taken yourself out of that pool.
Do you think, though, that the reason why you struggle with so-called instructions is because you're older? Because I find that for me personally, because I am divorced, with my own kids in my own house. Jy kan nie my deur inloop vir my probeer sê wat ek moet doen nie.
100%.
Like, it's, no.
Do you want to know what the perfect man for me is? No. One who has his own house.
Friend, me and you both. He must live next door, or maybe even the next street.
Like, I don't even care where he lives, but he must live in his own house. And he mustn't want to live in my house.
I agree.
In fact, he mustn't even want to be visiting me at my house.
I agree.
Sort of like my house is my kid's space.
Yes.
And I think the reason for this, right, is not because we're older. I think it's because we're independent. And we've had to be independent.
Yeah.
I've said this before. Especially in the colored community, I cannot speak for everyone else, but in the colored community, too many of us have had to learn to be independent. Mm-hmm. We didn't want to be. We didn't want to be strong, independent women. We had to be. So now we are. Now you can't change that and come in here and now you want to be the leader. We're following now. We don't playing follow the leader. I was the leader the whole time. I can't give that up now for you, but I can compromise for you.
Yes.
So that's the difference. I know, I say this on my page all the time. I am faulty. If you are faulty, that's good. I own my faultiness.
Yes.
So I'm okay with this.
Yes.
And whoever's going to have issues with what I'm saying here, guys, you know where to find me.
Send me a message.
Yeah, we can discuss
it.
That's fine. Because everybody can have an opinion. Unfortunately, this is me and I am very faulty. So can I explain my 5-slot system to you?
Oh, yes, please. There is a system.
There's a system.
Okay.
So I find really nice guys. I really date nice guys, right? I don't get into relationships with any of them, right? And if you were going to ask me, do I date multiple guys? Of course I date multiple guys. Because since when do you interview for a position and you only interview one candidate? It is obviously not a thing, right? So why am I using a different strategy in my dating life? So I have a 5-slot strategy. I will always be chatting to 5 guys.
Okay.
If I decide one guy is faulty, he will step out of the queue. The one at the back just moves one forward. And then we start chatting to that person.
Okay.
And also, I find that sometimes, like, for example, some of them are really nice. Well, all of them are really nice. But then they're busy. Like, like I don't sleep at night. So now you go sleep at 8 o'clock. What am I supposed to do? I'm bored.
Okay,
so then I need somebody else who's awake at night to speak to me. Right. So therefore, I am always happy. Okay. And right now, it's about me and my happiness, because my happiness was always the last thing I thought of. So now we need to keep me happy.
I hear you.
So unfortunately, that means that I need a 5-slot system.
Do you tell them that there's more than one?
The ones I really like, I don't tell. But like the others, I 100% tell them, like, listen, you're not the only person I'm like kind of seeing right now.
Do you think that most men are aware of this? And do you think that most men, like coming from that...
I don't think they know.
No.
I don't think they want to know. I think they always want to think that they are the only person you're speaking to. And unfortunately, and this is what I always say, they kind of set the rules and we kind of now play to those same rules. And now when the rules are the same on either side, it's not the best. Yeah, no, it's not. It doesn't actually get the best reaction.
No, not all.
So I don't always tell them. The ones that I'm kind of like, yeah, no, we can hang out, whatever. Yeah, no, 100% they know. I'm not just speaking to them.
For sure.
There's one particular one now that I actually really like. I'm not ever going to be in a relationship with him, but I do like him, Shem. So I won't hurt him. And it would hurt him to actually think that he's not the only person.
Got you.
So yes, I don't tell him.
Got you.
You must always be mindful of other people's feelings also.
Oh, you're very good. You're very sweet. I love this for you. Let's take a quick break from Chantal, who honestly, this is wild. Because we have some dating stories, other people's dating stories, and this particular one had my jaw on the floor because what the actual, like I said before, the audacity.
So I like this guy. He was the boss of engineering. En ek like die manne wat min pay nie. Ek kry te swaar om nog cheapskates. Same pay rate, you must not come to me. Ek soek 'n white coat manager of net 'n baas. But anyway, he's got the deepest dimples. En ek jaag die jong. Maar ek hou my mos nog sturvies in jy. Ek hou my net hy posh meisie. But finally he approaches me. So every time I like, he knows I'm a score addict. So I tell him, and let me rather not say his name. Buy a score there, man. Then I go there to the canteen, then there's a score in a yellow lunch. En goed, toe dink ek nee, jy wil gehef wees, man. Or when I walk past the canteen, then they say, "Now this, but I bought you this." And I check, oh, jy wil gehevies. As toe reg. So he brings me home like in the afternoons, like, "Can I give you a ride home?" And whatever. En ek is ons nou in vir die ding vir die diep dimpel man. En die baie py. Ja, want ek weet poverty is going to leave me if I take this man. Hey, die middag, die man vat my. Die man vat my uit, ons gaan eet. Dis na werk die goede. Hey, die man soen my. Nou sit ons in die kar. Die man soen, ek soen terug man. Want ek wil geheef wees. En die dinge raak warm en die dinge raak warm. Dink jy nie die man begin maak soos 'n kattie. Miau, miau. Miau, miau. Hy lig sy handjies op nes 'n kat. I'm like, what the Meow, meow. This man is making, and I'm like, hey? As nou seker maar nou sy fetish of 'n ding, maar die man hou nie op om te miauw nie. Die man miauw die hele pad en ek try om die hele boel te fake. Van ek dink, I'm not gonna judge anyone. Some people's fetish are feet. Some people's fetish is like fat rolls and butts. And so I don't want to rush judge this cat that I'm dealing with. Ek sê vir jou, dit kom hier om die fyn draai. Toe klink hy man soos 'n tiger. He wasn't meowing anymore, Tammy. He was roaring.
Did any of you picture this man going, meow, meow? Because I did, and then I had a visceral reaction because I've got 3 cats, so that is so weird. Anyway, let's get back into the conversation with Sean. Tell me more about the thoughts that you have in your head. I know that you put it out on your page, which was the funniest thing for me, is like worst date stories. And I know you've got a couple of interesting stories, but from your page, what are some of your favorite stories that you got? And then you have to tell us the story of the infamous Ahmed.
Oh, guys. Okay, firstly, prepare yourself for Ahmed's story, okay? I'm going to let you just like sit there, woosa, and we'll get to him. But let me tell you one of the funniest stories. I mean, there were few. I mean, I've been posting these stories in the evening slot on my page for about 2-3 weeks now.
Yeah.
And I must tell you, I have probably like at any point in time, I get 3 a night. So these girls are really living a really horrible dating life. And I
Yes,
must
we
admit,
are.
Mine has never been this bad. But,
No.
you know, you laugh.
Yeah.
So the one girl, and I was just telling you the story just now, this one girl sent in something last week. And she was like, when she was 19, herself and her cousin went on like, they went to go and meet these 2 guys, and it was obviously at the one guy's house or whatever. And you know, like you teenagers, you like necking and you hugging and you kissing and whatever else. And the cousin disappears with the one guy. And she's left with the other guy. Now, that's never a good thing. I always find like I want to choose first. I know I'm selfish, but I want to choose first because, you know, when you come in second, now the one's always cute and the other one's really not as cute. But anyway.
Yeah.
So anyway, she starts kissing the guy, whatever. They decide, okay, no, fine. They're also going to take it to a room now or whatever. And as she gets off the couch, she realizes this guy is shorter than she is, and she's 1.5 meters tall. Oh, wow. So then she tells the story of already she's like, oh my word, now how do you now actually say, no, my guy, this is not a thing. So Shima goes through with this, go to the bedroom, and the guy couldn't get onto the bed. And all I was picturing in my mind was this guy taking a running start, trying to get
launch onto the bed
the whole time. And she keeps saying, in the message, she says, then he'd get up, fall off, get up, fall off, get up, fall off. And like half the people on my page are going, shame, man, why didn't you just pick him up? Listen here, these ladies have it hard out here. I think we all have it hard out here, but she really had it hard out here.
No, man.
And then there were a whole lot of the others that were really, and guys, if you are listening to this now, please can we just, I don't know, create a partnership with something in terms of shower gel.
The amount of people who were like, oh, this man was unwashed. His toes were looking like knickknacks out there in the street. I was like, why are you inviting people to your home and it is filthy? You are filthy and you're thinking, we're getting it on. It is time
No,
now.
it was terrible. It was terrible. And like, you can actually hear, they're so descriptive. People on my page, right, should be writing a book. But it's so descriptive where they actually tell you, like, you literally smell this. Well,
Yeah.
you're like reading this and you can actually smell. So the one girl actually explains it as onions.
Yes.
She like actually says it's like this whole onion smell. I'm thinking, oh my word, that must be the most horrible thing. And then obviously there were others that were worse. Guys, you really need to do. And we're going to write a book. Let's put them out as like short stories.
I would love that. I would absolutely love that. Now, the one story that I also really loved was Ray's story about the pumps.
So yesterday I put up a thing about the pumps, and I really did that to trigger Ray,
Yeah.
right? Because I knew the story. But like, he's not the first person that's told me about pumps. There was another guy that also told me about pumps and then boots. I'll tell you the boot story. Literally, he says that if you wear pumps, it is time for him to break up with you because obviously of the smell. And he says that smell will kick like a horse. Like a donkey. It will kick that hard. He calls it Russell. So how can Russell, be wanting to play here if Russell now needs to be dealing this kind of smells? Oh, no, he's funny.
See, the thing is for me is I find it fascinating, especially on your page, that there are so, like I said, there's a lot of people who have very questionable personal hygiene.
Very.
But I'm assuming these people aren't, they're not children. Is your family or friends not coming to you?
But are your family and friends really honest? I mean, how many times have you known someone who's got halitosis and their breath stinks and you just avoid them or you just make sure that you're standing a little bit away from them and you're actually offering them a beachy now and again or whatever. But you never actually say, listen, my guy, you really need to do something about the situation. And in this particular case, I mean, they're dating. You like literally rocking up there on a date. How do you tell somebody you don't really know, my guy, you really should shower? I think maybe we should start a different thing. Like, maybe we should actually say we're doing swimming dates now. So you have to get into the water.
Everybody gets into the water with the soap.
Yeah.
Swimming dates in my bath.
Yeah, so some of the guys will tell you the same thing about women and makeup. They'll say, no, we're going on a swimming date because then we know what you look like.
Oh, yes.
Not realizing that our cosmetics companies have come up with waterproof makeup. I just want to put it out there for the guys. That situation's not going to work for you anymore. But it's going to work for us because you're going to bath.
Yeah, there we go. Do you want to tell people about?
I went to Cape Town. I opened Tinder and obviously I had a whole lot of matches and I was like, oh, okay, let's go through this catalog and choose one or two and then go on a date. Because that's what it is.
Catalog. I'm here for it.
So I went out with this guy, right? And it was a friend of mine. We all went to Mojo Market and he was amazing. He was really cool. I am avoiding him now, but never mind that story. Anyway, so I went out with him and then the next night, no, I think it was about 2 nights later, I actually met up with a different guy. But also, we're interviewing guys. Like, really, stop judging. This is an interview process, okay? And then I put it out on the page, and I'm telling the story of, this is what happened, whatever else, because everything is content, right?
Yes.
And this one guy named Ahmad comes on, and he says, this is why you're single and men don't like you and whatever else. Meantime, I've got more than 99 matches, and I can pick and choose and refuse like I want. But anyway, he then says, I'm acting like a hoe.
He called you a hoe?
He called me a hoe. And he's Muslim. Aren't Muslim guys supposed to treat you with respect or something?
I would think so.
Well, guys in general,
Yes.
actually. But yeah, he called me that. I mean, I'm like, oh, imagine. So I gave him this beautiful little message where I typed nicely in lots of words, the Oxford English, about how dating someone doesn't necessarily mean I was sleeping with him and wada. And this was more reflection on him than it was on me. I was really, I was channeling my mother's good manners.
Got you.
And then he still went on and I went, screenshot. And I banned him from the page. And then I put it up as an entire conversation. So his comments were then now the topic of conversation that he was now calling me a hoe, right? But I have a very, very loyal following, okay?
Yes.
They will come at you. And I knew they were going to do that, shame. So yeah, but I must tell you, my friend actually knows Ahmed. I think he's faulty in general.
Like you said, though, some of them are just faulty. There's no factory send back. There's no reset button. There's no restart. There's no blowing on.
I also know he's single, so there's a reason why he's single.
Oh, there we go.
Guys, don't date anybody. If they're in Cape Town and their name is Ahmad, just be safe. I'm just saying. Just be safe.
Oh, it is time for another story. It is a story that is not mine. This particular story, though, shows someone who had the audacity and actually, I give him props for it. It's a pity. Do you know what? Enough. Let me not tell you all about it. Just take a listen.
I had just graduated and started a lucrative job in corporate, and I got introduced to some people who introduced me to Tinder. I matched with a guy from Potchefstroom, and he said that he's going to come over to Gauteng to do some work, and he was wondering if he could come see me because we'd been talking a lot at that point. I did not at the point realize that Potchefstroom is very Afrikaans. I went on this date. So I scheme with my colleague, and he's like, dude, go to this date. I'll cover for you. And then the excuse was that I was going to drop off documents at a client's place. So he covered for me. I walk into the restaurant and I'm sitting down. I'm very corporate, like in my high heels, like I'm slaying it. And then I see somebody wearing two-tone and fallies. He comes to me and then he's like, are you so-and-so? And then I'm like, yes. And then he's like, I'm so-and-so. And I'm like, oh, okay. And it wasn't because like I have anything against two-tones and fallies. Like I think it's a great look. But I did not expect to be on a date with a regtige man. I did not know he was that Afrikaans. And it was one of the greatest dates I've ever had in my entire life. Honestly, the conversation just flowed, time flew by, and I was like, oh, damn, I need to go back to work. But we get to this point where we start talking about maybe seeing each other again, or if we can continue talking. And then it gets to kind of like an awkward place where he's like, you know, he really, really likes me, and like we seem like a perfect match and stuff, but he lives there in Potchefstroom and I live in Johannesburg. He didn't have a problem with that. He said that he had a problem with what the community is going to think of him because he comes from a very strict Afrikaner background, and he was scared of the backlash that he'd get being with a Tswana queen. Unfortunately, we had to go our separate ways because that was going to be a deal breaker for both of us. Even though we both liked each other, the fact that he came from a different world than I did was going to be something that was going to alienate him from his family. So yeah, that was one of the best Tinder dates that I ever had.
Let's make one thing very clear here, okay? On this podcast, love is love. And if your heart yearns for a little bit of chocolate, if your heart yearns for delicious caramel, if your heart yearns for a bit of a spice, doesn't matter what your heart yearns for. If love is love, I say go for it. You don't want to live your life in regret, ever. Back to Shine. Okay, quick fire questions.
Okay.
Top 3 red flags. Besides Ahmad's.
Unemployed.
Okay.
Living with their mother. Not them. It's a different thing if they're living with their mother and if their mother is living with them. Two totally different things, right?
Got you.
So, okay. Living with their mother. And when you go out on a date, they expect you to pay.
So you don't pay for dates?
I don't mind paying for dates. Here's the thing. I will never go on a date that is expensive initially because you would have to invite me to an expensive date. So we take them to a fast food place. Okay. And it's 24 hours. It's well lit and it's got security. And it's not expensive. So even if I'm buying the food, it's fine. And I never actually choose food on a first date. I would choose coffee, or I would choose ice cream, or I choose a milkshake.
You are so different from me because I literally had somebody say to me the other day, do you want to go for coffee at another fast food restaurant? And I said, over my dead body, and blocked them. No.
I have issues with people spending money on me in general.
Oh, I see. Oh, I don't have those issues at all.
So yeah, so we are actually another topic that we need to have, like, you know, because there was something on TikTok the other day as well where they basically spoke about the difference between like me that would take a cheap date because I don't want to put extra. I don't want to have to worry about your finances.
I'm not worried about your finances.
So, yeah, but that's the thing. I don't want to have to sit there and halfway through the date, I'm thinking, can you afford this? Are we now going to have an issue? I don't like having issues about money. Or like having conversations around money. And yeah.
Okay, but that's a whole other story. Conversations around money is a whole other story. So here's my thing. I am not worried about your finances because you should be a fully functional, self-sufficient adult. As I am. So I expect to be taken somewhere that is as fancy as somewhere that I can afford to take myself.
I get you, and there's nothing wrong with that. I just obviously have issues. I also say I'm faulty, I own it. But like the point of the whole story is that I don't want to sit there and wonder who's going to pay the bill.
Got you.
So like if we're clear about it, I'll pay for the bill. I don't mind. I don't have a problem with it. But like halfway through this date, I'm now sitting and thinking, do I offer? Do I not offer? What's going on here? Whatever. I'm not concentrating on anything you're saying because I'm more worried about this.
Yeah.
So yes, maybe if we have a conversation around, okay, where do you want to go? And all of them do ask. So firstly, I don't date guys that are unemployed. I only date guys. And I only date, here's another one, responsible parents.
Yes.
So like I will only date somebody who has kids, but there must be a responsible dad. I don't do the deadbeat dad thing.
Yeah.
And the reason being, then you understand my priorities and I understand your priorities.
Quick question. So let's say it was like my kids. My kids are 17 and up. Would you, I don't know how old your kids are, but would you date somebody with little kids?
100% love kids. Absolutely love kids. So I don't even mind. And most of the people, I also have this thing, do you date guys older than you?
Yes.
Because I don't.
Oh.
I only date guys that are either the same or younger. And not young, as in like the babies. No, I'm not doing that.
Like how much younger? How much younger are you willing to go?
Max 8 years.
Okay.
Like I'm not going to do the ones that just come out of school. And I'm not going to do the ones that are just trying to get established in their career.
Life, yes.
And the ones that haven't lived.
Yes.
So like lived experience is very important to me.
Yeah.
I can't be doing this whole, I must teach you about life out here.
Yeah.
I'm not there. I really didn't study teaching. So yeah.
Top 3 green flags.
Employed,
Yes.
intelligent, and tall.
Taller than you or just tall?
Taller than me is a good start. Tall is much better.
Okay. So no short
It's not hard to be taller than I am. I'm like 1.6 meters tall. Like, how much harder can it be to be taller than me?
Okay, what if he was 155?
Now what now? On the one day that I decide to wear wedge heels, then I'm the giant and you're like the little elf here.
Okay.
It's not time for Mariah Carey yet.
No.
We're getting there.
What is the one thing that you refuse to do on the first date?
Refuse. Okay. I thought this is a family show.
Would you do the funky chicken on the first? Okay.
Depends. Like if there is an insane amount of chemistry, I'm not out here wanting to marry anyone.
Okay.
Okay. So if he's got all the green flags, and there's way more than those 3 I just mentioned, and we have like insane amount of chemistry, I don't think I'm like averse to it. Like, you know,
Okay.
I'm not like totally against it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to volunteer.
As tribute.
Yeah, I know. Do I feel bad for you? Oh, shame, you made all this effort. No, it's not like that. So also, like, what's the other thing? Meet your mother, I guess. Like, why do I want to meet your family? I don't want to meet half my family. Why do I want to meet your family on a first date? Like, why?
But you don't know someone that's happened to have, do you? Someone that's had to meet?
Of course. I know somebody who's actually gone on a date and the mother of this guy has actually joined them.
No, she hasn't.
I promise you.
A grown person.
Listen, the Indian community is like very, very close to their parents. Okay. But this guy was way too close to his mother.
Yes.
And this is the kind of situation. So listen, people out here, like dating is an adventure sport and people out here are wilding. It's really crazy. But here we are. So I wouldn't meet your mother on a first date.
I would also not meet your mother. Okay. To wrap it up, what would be your message to anybody who is trying to date an independent, funny, successful 35-year-old up woman? What's your advice to men, and what is your advice to women who are also looking to date independent, funny men?
Firstly, to the guys, come proper. I do not need all your baggage. Nobody needs all your baggage. Only you need your baggage. In fact, you don't even need your baggage. What I mean by that is emotional nonsense. Like, do not come and you've now decided you're owning the space. You are now the man. You are the hunter, whatever, and you're coming with instructions. No, don't. First, read the room. Okay, and then for the ladies, yeah, I know there's lots of faulty guys out there. You just really need to stick to what you're actually looking for and don't compromise. I know I said I would
Don't
compromise.
compromise.
No, why are you going to compromise on what you're looking for? So you're looking for an employed guy. And now all of a sudden you meet somebody who's unemployed, but he's looking shame. So yes, I get it. He's looking. Let him channel all of that energy into giving out his CV wherever and going on interviews. Because inevitably it's going to end up being a story of I need to pay my rent, or I'm short on this, or I need to pay my car, or whatever. And then you have to get involved. Now for me, money is an uncomfortable conversation to have. Now I need to be supporting another person. I have kids.
Yeah.
I support them.
Yeah.
You must have money and support yours. I don't expect you to support me. So that's what I'm thinking in terms of the ladies. A lot of you compromise and you end up in situations where you're just taken advantage of because you have good hearts and because you are stable. Somebody takes advantage of you. Just don't do that.
I have one more question. Have you ever reached out or been reached out to by like a scammer?
I think we all have. If you're on Tinder, they live and breathe. And they walk around without flashing signs.
Where do you think they find the time, though? This is my question.
That's their full-time jobs.
Because I'm like, I had this guy spend time, man. Time
He put
on
in
me.
the effort.
He put in the effort. And then he was like, well, I need 300 rand.
Was that you? Guys, I saw those messages. I did not realize it was
It was me. It was me.
A random person.
No. So my producer Ethan calls this the takeaway moment, and when he said that, I thought to myself, yes, apparently takeaway cups of coffee in parking lots of random fast food restaurants. What have I taken away from this? I've taken away that obviously safety is a priority. Also that some people must make. Do you know what it is? I'm thinking maybe before you have the audacity, maybe reach out to your friends and be like, hey, do you think like this is a normal thing to want to say or do or wear or smell like on a date? Reach out to those ones closer to you who love you the most because they only want the best for you. So reach out to them before you jump into the big, beautiful, amazing world of dating and let them give you tips. They're trying to help you. Also, like I said in the beginning of this episode, some of Sean's opinions or thoughts have changed. And that's fine. You're allowed to have the audacity to change your mind or to even broaden your horizons. That's it from me on this week's episode of Love, Dating and Chaos with me, Felicity Rican. Next week is going to be a goodie. You don't want to miss it. Thank you. To make sure that you like and rate and subscribe and review because I'm planning to be the best podcast in South Africa. Of course, you get this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Jackpot, Spotify, Apple, all those kind of places. Okay, love you. Okay, bye.